All right. So once again, I'm live. Um, got a special guest tonight coming on tonight. Um, Brother Shawn James from New York. Um, just checking. He's on now. You know. Hey, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, Bernard. How are you?
Um, I'm all right, man. Dang, on a little hot down here, but it's all right, man. I just said let me get on here and see what Shawn James up to. I've been kind of put on ice for like 4 months by the creeps. But once they let
Oh,
me
I'm
get,
sorry. Sorry to
well,
hear that.
I mean, hey man, when you talk about what we talk about, sometimes they say they gotta put you in timeout like a
Yeah.
small. But nevertheless, um, ladies and gentlemen, we got the guy Shawn James in here, the man Shawn James. Go ahead and explain who you are, brother.
I am a writer and who's been publishing books on the SJS Direct Imprint for the last 11 years. And my latest book, John Haynes 1987, is now available in paperback on Amazon.com. You can get a paperback or digital format book at other online booksellers.
That's interesting. Speaking of books, well, no, we get to that later. Let's get to that part later. I want to start off because you're in New York City, right? We're gonna come to the books and writers and all that other stuff later. Let's talk about what is the state of New York City right now. While I was on my mind before I forget.
It's still a mess. Eric Adams doesn't know what he's doing. He's still trying to deal with this whole migrant situation. And he's basically waving the red flag at this point. He's sending people down to the border to hand out flyers telling them not to come to the city because he's overwhelmed with migrants who have come there. And it's only been about, what, 40,000. And he's just not really doing a good job of running the city. In between the migrants and the crime, the quality of life is nowhere near what it was during the Giuliani era or even maybe 5 years ago.
Hmm. Well, one thing about Eric Adams just came into office about 2 years ago. He started off with mandates and a lot of other things. He tried to be like a dictator. Well, actually, he kind of still is. Um, but however, last week I did realize him and KRS-One. Yeah, I guess the use of the Chaos One thing. They had some 50 years of hip hop celebration or something like that. So he's tried to play on our emotions with the entertainers, but then he tries to also slap you in the face too with the migrant crisis. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. He's made a lot of enemies, and he doesn't even know that those enemies really don't like him and are secretly planning on trying to undermine him. And these are people in his own party who don't like him. I mean, he's just really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and he doesn't know how bad things are for him.
Well, I know one thing that he goes along with the Biden administration on trying to get rid of gas stoves, etc. Probably going to talk about water heaters and that. He's been on this thing of telling you how much meat you should consume and all this other nonsense.
That's the stuff that's going to make him alienate a lot of people, the whole thing, because people are used to gas stoves, people are used to water heaters and hot water. I mean, they're just pushing too far with this green stuff. And again, this green stuff has proven to be a failure. And even one of the people who were a part of that elite group, I believe one of those former prime ministers told them this was insane, but they just still keep pressing on, hoping to get brownie points, not understanding that everything that they're planning has been a certified failure. I mean, all the wind power doesn't work. The electric cars are basically junk, but they still keep going on. It's with these leftists, it's like they've got to learn the hard way. And the sad part is the bootlicks like Eric Adams don't understand that going along to get along will only lead to you making enemies out of people who will not respect you.
Well, he's been, you know, on the warpath. Now he was a surrogate for the Biden administration, but they kicked him off the team, basically.
Yeah,
Um, because he did speak out against the Biden administration on a couple of things. Unfortunately, that got him socked off, but it's what it is.
Yeah, and it
But
may get him fired because if you don't have the whole thing is he was a lot allied with them, and the whole thing is that party basically is grooming his replacement as we speak.
well, what's the term for me in New York? 4 years, right?
Yeah, well, it's 4 years, and they usually get 2 terms, but I doubt he gets a second term. I doubt it. He's made too many enemies.
How many did De Blasio get?
De Blasio got 2 because he was a bootlicker and he went along with the blue program.
Yeah, De Blasio. Yeah, I know De Blasio got 2. Yeah. Because did y'all have let's see who else you had. You had Giuliani,
We had Bloomberg,
Bloomberg, yeah, definitely.
had De Blasio, and then we had Adams, and I don't think Adams is going to last.
Do you have Dinkins or somebody like that?
We had Dinkins before Giuliani, and we had Ed Koch before that, and Abe Bean before that.
What do you think about Dinkins?
He wasn't very good at all. I mean, he basically was another go along to get along, bootlicking black politician who did nothing for anyone until a white person died, and then he wanted to do something about the crime because as long as it was black people killing black people, he had no problem with it. But when a white tourist winds up dying, then he wants to do something.
It was another one in the 90s too. It wasn't Dinkins. It was another one.
It was Giuliani.
No. Was it Patterson? No, Patterson might be somebody else.
Patterson was a governor in 2008 to about 2012.
Yeah.
He filled out Elliot Spitzer's term after he got caught in a scandal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They had some guys because one of them, like, I remember Dr. Khalid Muhammad was talking about. He talked about him when he told him at that Million Youth March. He called one of them out. I know he called out Giuliani. He called a couple other people, but it was interesting. There are a lot of people that New York politics has always been kind of funny.
Yeah.
But what do you think about all the homelessness here? What's up with that?
It's really bad. The whole thing is the migrants have made the situation worse, and the migrants have taken all the spots that many homeless black men would have got. And sadly, many of our homeless veterans and homeless individuals, they can't get services because everybody's so focused on the migrants that they're not focused on taking care of the homeless individuals or the homeless individuals who have mental health issues as related to the crime. So everything is all about the migrants and everything is about pandering to the migrants. And that's the whole sad part about it.
Okay. Now, cover a little bit in New York, real segue back in there. I got a couple things I'm gonna break down tonight, including one thing I didn't break down, but I'm gonna break it down. But we'll break it down. Just follow my cue because the alphabet boys, you know how they are. But nevertheless, and actually I say fuck the alphabet boys anyway. But just let you know how it goes down on these platforms. Since they let's just put with RFK Jr. You know what happened on Capitol Hill last week. You know when he got mad with him. They
tried to demonize him.
Well, we got to talk about the same situation because there was something happened with LeBron James Sunday. They put we'll get to that in a minute. Now there was a thing called a Hollywood writers' strike, and I said, "Oh boy, it's kind of like the chickens are coming home to roost." And this is the funny stuff right here. But what's going on, Frank? How you doing? But I look at it like this. See, Hollywood made a lot of fantasy. You got Barbie out here. Then you got this. As a matter of fact, I did go see that Sound of Freedom movie by Angel Studios. They tried to demonize it all the way they could too, as well. But then you put out Barbie, so everybody wants to dress in pink and all this stuff. And didn't Nicki Minaj used to call herself a Barbie?
She did.
Okay. What image do you think that give young women when they want to be a Barbie?
Well, it's an image of women who want to be a white woman when it comes to black women, but with women, they just want to be that ideal.
Okay. Well, stick with the black women on this one, because I'm thinking about when you're saying you want to be a Barbie, so they got this long hair movement going on or whatever they got going on. And the guy in the chat, Frank, me and him even had a conversation about last night. The women You've been in this chapter lately saying Ebony K. Williams talking about telling black women to go to sperm banks and get you get good black sperm if we don't have a lot of options to choose from. Talking about dad gonna be a single mother by choice. You heard of Ebony K. Williams, I know you have.
She's full of it.
But my thing is, you want people. They say they want real men, but if your hair, nails, and eyelashes are fake, wouldn't that constitute to you being kind of fake too?
It would.
Exactly. So I understand what's the problem. So I'm trying to find out. You can't be fake with this, but not be fake up here. Because then when you ask them to correct it, they have problems correcting it.
Yep.
Now, I did a study on this show before, and the hair, nails, and eyelash industry, an industry that should be an outlier, are all $1 billion industries. I actually just compared them all on LinkedIn. They got over $20 billion combined in this stuff. That is a lot of money to be spending on cosmetics. So, I mean, out there in New York, I came to New York in March. I mean, they had one, I think, nail shop that was open 24 hours a day.
Wow.
I think it was in Brooklyn. Oh no, the Bronx. I said, wow, this is kind of crazy. But it goes to show you that, I mean, it's a market for it. But I don't know how you make a market for it now. Back to, well, I do know how you make a market, but I don't know how you get people to stop. Well, you got casinos and all this other stuff. So anything people can make a market of, they can make a market of. We don't have to be the forefront of the market. Yeah. You were saying, and then we were talking about the Hollywood writers' strike.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about Hollywood now? Are they getting to taste their own medicine? Is it what it is? I mean, how does it go? What do you think?
Well, with the writer's strike, it's basically part of it is these executives basically reaping what they sowed because they were out here making billions of dollars as related to many of these superhero movies and all these other things that they had out here. And they really haven't been paying their writers what they deserve. I mean, the issue that is here as related to this strike is that they haven't been paying their writers as related to streaming. They've actually been trying to undermine the unions with these streaming contracts, which have been absolutely terrible, where they go out here and just hire the most inexperienced writers, and then they don't really pay them the way they're supposed to. And they also go out here and they are looking to replace writers and actors with AI, which is just unethical because what they're looking to do is just basically try to undermine most of the writers so that they won't get compensated. So I have to agree with the writers that it's the time to go on strike because what Hollywood is looking to do is look to try to make it where a lot of these writers can't make a living. And now, what compounds this is the fact that you've got executives like Bob Iger sitting there talking about how he ain't got no money, but he gave himself a raise. And I really, again, believe that's absolutely reprehensible because you're giving yourself a raise, but you say you don't have the money. And all you have to really pay actors is $600 million, basically, as related to raising their pay. And you're making billions of dollars every year. So the money that you could give in a raise would be nothing. And also saying that you would not use AI for writing or use AI for actors. That's a small drop in the bucket to the billions that they make. So what the writers are asking for is really not much as I see it. And protecting your intellectual property, especially as related to your virtual image, that's something that I believe has to be fought for in scripts and as related to actors. So everything that they're fighting, the writers and the actors are fighting for, I got to get behind because I wouldn't want my IPs to be used or my likeness to be used without my permission and have people making money on my stuff without me ever being able to profit from it.
Yep. You're right. And but AI is really been out there. and it's been kind of bad.
Yeah.
Um, but they're using the hold on, my bad. Yeah, man. Look, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something, dude. It's been hot. I came home about 7, maybe 7 o'clock, and I took a nap. And I was supposed to send. Um, uh, well, I sent some. I think I sent notification message, but sometimes I send notification text. So I'm kind of been all over the place, but I'm good now because I did wake up 15 minutes before. But now, wait a minute. Look at that. Hey, hold it. Speaking of hot, look at this weekend. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. I'll just turn my earpiece. I can hear you.
Yeah, my bad. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me bring this up. What's it raining too tonight? Whatever, I don't care. It's been hot. They said this weekend in Richmond, Virginia, it's supposed to be an average 100 degrees or 98
Wow.
or whatever. But nevertheless, how you feel about this, man? I mean, like, now, of course, I just look at a 98-degree day. They did cancel an event I had to do, but that's okay. But I ain't going along with this climate change nonsense. I mean, it's just hot. It's a hot
Yeah.
day. They tell you,
Just a
oh,
hot
it's
day.
climate change. Oh my God, it's climate change, it's climate change, it's climate change.
It's
It's not
not.
climate
There's
change.
no climate change. I mean, Psalms 24 verse 1 basically refutes that point. They're just these SJW activists. What they want to do is just call themselves changing things as related to policy so they can make some money. But the whole thing is that there is no climate change. I mean, life is life. The world is the world, and the weather is beyond the control of men.
Hmm. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong verse. Hold on, I got you. 24 verse 1. The earth is the Lord and all fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. That's it,
Yeah.
24. Okay. Anime. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I'll put it this way. Can they do cloud seeding, manipulate weather patterns? Yes, you can do that. They had Operation Popeye. They used that in Vietnam and some other places. They can always use technology, but if you talking about climate change because it's hot, no, ain't no climate change. No, buddy. Ain't
No.
no climate change. Daggone, because I thought it was climate change, then it would be cold in the winter, right?
Yeah.
No, it'd be hot in the
It'll
winter,
be hot in the winter.
and then it'd be a igloo in the summer. That ain't happening. So, I mean, at least not yet, right? So, but they show you that because they want to justify the EVs and all that.
Yep.
Yep, they want to justify the EVs and all that. Yeah, they want to justify it, and they want to justify making money. I mean, you just had the little press secretary come out and tell you that they want to what? They want to get rid of your water heater by 2029. Which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I thought that was very ridiculous, Shawn, but I also look at it like people are in big trouble as far as things go now. Of course, Kamala Harris been out over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
She's been out at she went to a Delta convention, she went here, she went there. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, why you did prance her all around the country? What do you think about that, Shawn?
Well, they're desperate to try to get the black vote, and then this is all part of ploys to get the black vote out. And the stupid old folks who are boomers, they'll fall for it, but the rest of us know that this is meaningless. It's just empty visits to try to pander to black voters, old black voters, because they've lost a lot of the black vote, and they're trying to make these desperate empty ploys like the Emmett Till memorials and other empty symbolic gestures. They don't want to give anybody black tangible, so they just trot her out have her say a word salad, and that makes the old folks feel good and makes them think they want to vote blue, but it's just not. It's just we can see right through this stuff now.
Well, they actually came out and told you that young people are not voting.
Yeah, nobody's voting because they don't see any value in it.
Well, and she wouldn't be the person that make you want to get up to go to the poll anyway.
No.
Now, all right, you heard about LeBron James someday, but that's just one outlet. It's a lot of people have myocarditis, Deion Sanders, people you may know, athletes. They claim to say 1,800 athletes have had a cardiac arrest or something like that in the last couple of years, right?
Yep.
Now, that's very interesting. Seemed like a timeline of a certain medical condition or crisis they claimed. The timeline just happened. It just, oh my God, it happened, you know. And now you're having people having myocarditis, Damar Hamlin, and so forth, and like Jamie Foxx, we don't know. And don't you think this is kind of odd that this timeline just keeps happening? And then now today they had to admit this. This was LeBron James, so they had to admit this. But if I remember LeBron James 2 years ago, he said, I don't want to tell you to take it, but I took it to protect my family. So daggone, it all but a foregone conclusion. When you put 2 and 2 together, Shawn, you know it's almost a foregone conclusion. Matter of fact, but I mean, so can I make a prediction? Shout out to those who go wrong with it. Okay. Shout out to those who didn't go along with it.
Yeah.
How do you? How do you? Go ahead.
Looks like it's a coincidence that this is related to a certain product that was produced that we cannot name. And it's again, it continues to strike, taking out extremely healthy young people. But the whole thing is nobody wants to admit this. But we have to admit that this mandated product that people were mandated to use might possibly be the reason why so many people are still getting sick right now.
Now, I'm going to say something product I didn't name actually. But this is how I look at it. We have to look at that product and say, hey, you know, we told you. And now the person is on the wall. The proof is on the wall. Let's just put it this way. You're going to have to daggone use your head. Shawn, what they always tell you when you was young? If it sounds too good, hey, Shawn, I'm going to be like a friend of mine out there in Houston, Texas. She's a great woman. She says, you mean you got something to work for everybody? 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 You, and you? Damn, that's good. Thank you, Dawson. But it works for everybody? Damn, this is real good, Shawn. I don't think people can even take the same damn toothpaste. You mean tell me everybody take this magical concoction and everybody's cured. Nobody's gonna get sick. Remember that?
Yep.
It told you that if you take it, daggone, then they told you, oh no, don't be around those unclean ones. You know, those unvaccinated people. Don't be around them, please. They'll hurt you. You might die. What they told you, Shawn? You can't go to your grandpa's house, your grandmother's house.
Yeah.
Don't come over for Christmas dinner. Remember all that nonsense they were saying?
I remember all that stuff.
That was a big fear campaign.
Yep, and now it's backfiring on them.
Well, it kind of is, but the new pandemic, they say it's gonna be climate change. Now they're gonna tell you the sky too foggy. Don't go outside. Remember those so-called Canadian wildfires?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just being honest. I live in Virginia. We had some of that fog. But I don't believe the daggone that stuff came over no daggone Canada though.
No.
Smoke would have dissipated over that long period of time. Canada and Chicago, Illinois ain't nowhere close to each other. All right? Just putting it out there. They ain't that close.
Nope.
But you got to give them credit for driving up the fear. Now, you recited a biblical verse to me, so let me just recite one back. I thought they said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." So I'm trying to find out this fear that you're saying ain't adding up. Shawn, where these pastors at? Where they at right now? You know, just ask a question. Where they at? You know, are they around? Are they alive? Well,
They're
alive.
around, but they're compromised. They don't do really any real preaching anymore. They're clowns.
Al Sharpton.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Now, speaking of that, Jesse Jackson just recently stepped down from Rainbow Push. I think he got Parkinson's or something like that. But I know you were talking about boomers and things like that. And you have a issue like a lot of other people do, including myself, with a lot of the boomers. I mean, my issue is that everything you tell them is almost conspiracy, the ones that don't listen to you. And they think that you're making these things up. But you have the evidence in your hand, or as we're talking, we have the evidence. So what do you think is the strife? Oh, yeah. Oh, what do you think is the strife between the boomers and wouldn't be called a Gen Xer. I'll be called more millennial, but whatever the hell it is. But let's just use the word. Well, Gen Xer is what? That would be like somebody 2000, right? Yeah.
No, it'd be somebody of my generation, was born in the 70s.
That's like Gen X. Yeah, Gen Z would be. Yeah, Gen X. Okay, Gen Xers, millennials, and so forth. Like, yes, that's right. Okay, what is the problem between the Gen Xers and the Gen Xers and the baby boomers? Where's the disconnect?
Well, the problem is that the boomers had it so good that they take life for granted. They really don't understand how the world works because the world was very different for them. People basically gave them everything, whereas everybody from Gen X on we had to put in work to get what we have, and we're dealing with a whole different world than the one that they lived in. I mean, the one that they lived in, they basically had everything given to them. I mean, they lived in a world where you could get out of high school, get a job, be able to buy a home and start a family. And they basically, instead of looking out for the next man, they took the ladders out from under us, took all the opportunities away because it was just all about them. These guys are just so selfish that they don't really think about the next man coming after them and taking care of the next man after them, like the silent generation did. And the greatest generation, they always thought about the next man, but the boomers never think about the next man. It's just all about what they want right now. And they could care less about anybody else. So they're the guys who close the doors on Gen Xers as related to getting jobs. They're the guys who close the doors on millennials as related to getting jobs. They're the ones who created all these unrealistic and crazy standards, talking about you needed multiple college degrees in order to get a basic, simple job. They were the ones who were out here with all these crazy ideas as related to things like climate change and all of these other stupid environmentalist agendas. They're the ones who were addicted to these ideas like electric cars. And they're the ones who want to create policies like bail reform and all these other dumb ideas. Because they're going to make the world a better place. But thing is that they have such tunnel vision, they can't see anybody else. And all their policies do is more damage as they are out here because they cannot really see another person because they've been given so much and they're so spoiled that they never think about anybody or ever think about how their actions impact other people.
Well, I've got a slightly different take on it. I think, I mean, I'm just talking about some of them, they look at it as like I said, sometimes they think about it as a civil rights thing. But at the same time, I mean, if you're saying that you marched and fought and bled for civil rights, I look at it like you talking about Donald Trump. He shouldn't have scared you at all then. That shouldn't have bothered you. That was like child's play to me. Like, that was funny stuff, man. I also look at it like you said with this Emmett Till thing. Didn't Biden's DOJ close the case on the Emmett Till thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So why are we talking about a national monument now? You see Caroline Bryant is dead, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to do that now. Don't fall for that. That's nothing. And it only happened in one state. Didn't happen everywhere. So why is it going to span across 3 states? It only happened in one state. So that's kind of like I'm tricking you again.
Yep.
And I don't think we need to fall for the same games all the time. They run the same. It's almost like you're running the same play all the time, Shawn. What do you think?
Well, they do that because they don't respect black people. These old boomers, they don't respect them, but they still think that, oh, they're giving them something. It's like, no, they're giving you nothing. Here is the guy who sat there in an office in 2020 and told you after he got the election that he's not going to do anything for you, but you're thinking that this empty symbolic gesture is a tangible when it's nothing.
It's nothing, but I'm going to say this. They have tried to make you the face of everything recently. They're saying, hey, we want you to. They got Kamala Harris. She's trying to be the face of the women's reproductive free. Speaking of that, you're in New York City. You're a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest feminist movements came through New York City in those times. Those were big testing grounds for feminism movements. New York on the west, no, in the east, California in the west. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this may be a loaded question, but when you were in high school, did you see the feminist movement starting to come in your high school years?
No, I didn't really. Oh, I did with the Oprah Winfrey show. I saw a lot of it. I mean, it was very subtle and insidious with books like The Color Purple and just so much stuff that was bashing up black men like a piñata.
Well, now they just made a remake of The Color Purple. You know that, right? You just made a remake.
Yeah.
Of it. Okay, I just pointed out there. See, they always show us hints and signs and symbols. Now, I don't know if you heard of this lady lately. We're not even talking about The Color Purple. We're talking about The Color Red. They call her Sexy Red. I don't know if you heard of her lately. She got a song called Pound Town. She's got lyrics that says, my pussy pink, my booty hole brown, and blah, blah, blah. She said, I'm out in Miami. I'm looking for my son a new pappy. 23-year-old white rapper from St. Louis. I'm like, is this what rap's supposed to be? Or are they putting us through another alternate reality? I mean, but they say she went to a school and donated gifts to the children. She made sure young women had bundles for prom and the boys got haircuts. I'm like, all right, Shawn. Just ask me a question. Don't you think that they really have been trying to, these rappers, entertainers, they've been pushing the worst of stereotypes on us recently, haven't they, man?
Yeah. Well, that's by design because these entertainers are just puppets for the white supremacists and the elite to go out here and promote anti-black agendas. So what they do is they want to program this whole stereotypical mindset on into black young black children at an early age. So they get these entertainers to go out here and present the kind of stereotypes that they want black people to behave in. And sadly, a lot of people they become spellbound and they want to fit into these black boxes that are acceptable to white people. I talk about this in my novel Spellbound, and they don't understand that what you're doing is being indoctrinated into a stereotype and indoctrinated into behaving in stereotypical ways.
Mm. All right. Well, let me show you something that was very disturbing. Because I want you to break it down, and then we got two more things to bring up, and we gotta talk about this so-called missing woman thing because I think that's gonna have very negative implications on us. Uh, and of course, Obama's chef died while paddle boating. Something don't seem right about that story.
No,
Um, Sound like could have been a hit job, but nevertheless, that's okay. All right, Shawn, and this is the thing. This is the girl, sexy red, and she
she
walking
looks
two
like a
men on a
porn star.
leash. Well, in her video, she was getting a tattoo on her butt in the video. But this was on July 21st, made her entrance to the popular festival. She strutted out on stage, dressed in a shimmering red ensemble. And I think that she had some connection to the Bloods too. Yeah, Gucci Mane. All right. Now, Shawn, you gotta admit that was kind of crazy, man. But I had to show it to you
Yeah,
just so you believe it. Now this reminds me of some Luther Campbell type stuff back in the day, but man, I like boy. Only thing is they doing a role reversal with this thing. And Luther Campbell wasn't liked by everybody either. So I mean, it's not like you know, Two Live Crew. You remember Two Live Crew, don't you?
yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. So everybody didn't like them either. So I'm like, I'm not understanding the problem here.
Well, they were just basically just presenting black perversion and sexual deviancy as socially norm. And this is what this woman is doing. She's just escalating things by presenting sexual deviancy as a social norm. And what they're doing in that
23.
imagery is basically turning a black man into an animal, which is what the white supremacist wants to see. He wants to see a black man on his hands and knees acting like an animal because that's what he wants to see as the standard for black men. But sadly, a lot of us think this is entertainment, but this is just trying to indoctrinate people into believing stereotypes are perfectly normal.
Okay, now speaking of that, all right. Now you talk about stereotypes. I'm not gonna talk about stereotype here, but this will be something that we got to watch for in the future. What do you think about this lady Kylie Russell that basically pulled a I don't know Jesse Smollett on us? I don't know. Kind of crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, she's basically running the same lie that Tawana Brawley ran back in 1987. And back in 87, you had Tawana Brawley, who was basically running around out here with some dude. And she wanted to make it look like she was sexually violated by that dude. And she wanted to make it look like told the story that some white man did this to her. And she came up with this just wild story. And what happened was these activists like Al Sharpton got a hold of the story and wanted to use it to try to say that there was something going on. But There was nothing anybody ever substantiated about this whole story about this white cop going out here and allegedly violating her. And the story was never proven to be true. But really, the same thing is happening here with Carly Russell. What she's trying to do is trying to cover up some sort of liaison she had with some dude. And she went out here, concocted this story as related to this so-called abduction, and wanted to make it look like this was what happened. When really what happened, I believe happened, was she drove her car, she made the 911 call to try to distract people from what she really was looking to do, is hook up with this dude. And as she hooked up with this dude for 2 days, she then went back to her, after everything happened, went back to her house with this story. And that's all that this Carly Russell thing is all. It's just one big hoax as related to covering up some sort of affair she was having. And she's still lying right now. And I believe that she needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for creating this hoax, using police resources. And what she's really done, which is the most reprehensible thing, is make it that much harder for a black woman who was missing to be believed by the police, or for police to invest resources into a search as related to a real missing woman, black woman.
You know what? There are 80,000 plus black women and girls missing across this country. For her to pull off some stunt like that, see, that made it look insignificant. Come to think about it, at the same time, the movie Sound of Freedom is out, right?
Yep.
Sex trafficking, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I went and watched the movie for 2 hours, right? Okay. Now, the movie started off in Colombia and they talked about sex trafficking, but this is a whole big plan. It's a $150 billion business. Every year, it makes a lot of money. Just putting it out there. For you to pull some stunt like that shows me you do need to be prosecuted. But really, women need to be taking her to task, because that could be your niece, daughter, stepchild, anything. And you might make the call and your child actually missing. Either dead in the foster care, child protective services, who knows? But you can't play that game, because that's a very dangerous game and we shouldn't be involved in that. And I really think Miss Russell did a lot of people a disservice by what she did. It had a lot of cover-ups too. Like, the story never added up. That's why when it first happened, I didn't really know what was going on. I heard about it. It was just before I turned 36 on the 16th. I heard about it and I said, I don't know how I can make a story on this, because I don't have the facts yet. And people were donating. Now, I also look at it as a money grab too, because people were donating money to her and they didn't know the story yet. Or donating money to the cause. People putting up GoFundMes and stuff. So it made no sense, because we didn't know the facts. That's how I look at it. So we can't just jump these stories. And we got. I mean, they didn't trick me with the Justice Smollett thing. And I know, Shawn, you knew the Justice Smollett thing seemed false when you heard it, but some people fall for it.
Yeah.
So you
They
can't
get emotional.
You can't get sucked in to that, because we got to understand that, hey, man, but if she gets prosecuted, I'm sure you call it the SJWs are going to be very, very, they're going to cry a little bit. Now, speaking of that, since you mentioned SJW, that's one more thing I wanted to bring up. About these SJWs. SJW's been getting a wake-up call, because out of the people that's been getting fired the most all these jobs, they've been firing a lot of the diversity, equity, and inclusion departments. How do you feel about that?
Well, these people were never going to keep their jobs anyways. Like Professor Black Truth says in many of his videos, bootlick is a job without a retirement plan. And these SJWs are getting fired for two reasons. One, they're just basically placeholders as related to a political cause, like in the case of these diversity and inclusion executives. They were meant to just be hired to be a placeholder as related to issues of race and diversity, after the George Floyd riots. And once the fire died down, they were going to get back to business as usual. So that person wasn't going to be able to keep their job long term. And what was going to happen is that person was going to be out of a job no matter what. Now, the other people, the SJWs, these were grossly unqualified, inexperienced individuals who were basically hired to basically meet either a diversity quota in some cases, or they were just hired because they just wanted to hire somebody cheap. And what's happened is that they've made a lot of losses for these studios and these publishing companies. And because they've made a lot of losses, what they're doing now is looking to fire these individuals, even though they were hiring them to meet these diversity check marks and meet these quotas. But now that all of that is over, now they're looking to go out here and clean house, because again, what I see Hollywood looking to do is get back to business as usual. And since they've lost so much money, now they're looking to purge all of these individuals. And a lot of these people are getting the wake-up call that they're not really being included. And the thing that they wanted to do was passively include them, but aggressively say, oh, these individuals are the reason for all of these losses. And because these individuals are the reason for all of these losses, what we need to do is get rid of these individuals and go back to business as usual.
Well, guess what? Don't they have a term to say go woke, go broke?
Yeah.
well, look, Shawn, it's kind of like we hired you, but you really ain't had no real position anyway. We just gave you a little.
No.
We gave you a seat at the coffee table, and you get to go to Starbucks for a year free. But after that, you got to pay it back, baby. You pay it back to God. That's how it works. So being with your DI quotas, it don't work. Y'all got Shawn. Y'all got a little bit of affirmative action.
Yep.
But now they always say hindsight is 20/20. But over the last 5 years, I mean, they've been telling you that they were going to chomp this bit of this affirmative action. Didn't they tell you that? You knew it was coming. I mean, and it came. Now, the media said, oh my God, Black people are going to be outraged. We didn't really take the bait that much. We didn't riot. We didn't go crazy over losing affirmative action. We didn't hardly do anything. Shawn, you weren't, I mean, to be honest with you, you weren't worried about affirmative action anyway.
It wasn't benefiting any Black person in the first place. We weren't getting anything out of it.
I mean, well, but now I'm going to say this. To be honest with you, this is kind of funny, but guess what? It was benefiting white women, right?
Yep.
Remember? But guess what? They started getting shafted too because they said, oh, we got a new crowd we about to bring in. We're going to bring in the LGBT. They're going to be getting it. That's when it started to get really rocky. When they started bringing in these subgroups who were more concerned about the sexuality than concerned about this. See, the feminists, you got to understand, it's a big culture war going on. The feminists are mad with the trans, too. See, it's kind of like, oh, well, we just wanted to get into corporate America. But the trans say we want to give it. So, Shawn, one's company, two's a crowd, three mean you got to go. Well, guess what? They say the women got to go. They say they the new kids on the block. They say y'all got to go. We taking over. Guess what the women are saying today? I heard one of them in the store today say it. I heard one I talked to say it. It's time for men to stand up and protect the women from these trans. My buddy told him, He said, look here. We told y'all not to be accepting this stuff years ago. Now you want the backup. He said, I'm only supporting women who was speaking out the whole time. He said, you weren't speaking out and then you jump in the gun, want me now. The hell with that.
Yep. They're strong and independent. They didn't need a man, so get themselves out of it.
Yeah, he said this. He said that's what it is. He said, I'm only speaking up for the ones who said they wanted help from the beginning. But he said, I'm not gonna stand up for the ones who didn't, because he said you dug your hole. Now you gotta go sleep in it, lay in it, or dig yourself out of it. Now you picked the choice, all three of them choices, but that's what you chose to do because you kept saying, be yourself. You said, let them come in the church house, let them come in the schoolhouse, let them come to the basketball court, let them come to the restroom, let them play sports. Now you're saying, knocking at your door, and now you don't like it. And when you don't like it, I mean, hey, you didn't like Shawn. You didn't like it either, but you had to put up with the. Well, I'm not gonna say you had to put up with it, but let's just put it in. The SJWs had the loudest voices in the room at the time. They were chomping. Shut up, Shawn. Shut up, Bernard. Shut up, this person. Shut up, anybody else.
Yep.
See, I mean, just to be honest, Black Lives Matter last week got a lawsuit up there in New York City for $13 million, but they can have that little lawsuit because guess what? BLM is basically done. They are never going to have the same effect they did before. So
everybody knows what they are.
They might have well got their last payday. See, you got to remember this. When we were calling out BLM, people were saying what? Oh, y'all hate your own people. I said, no, these are opportunists.
Yep.
They're opportunists. They're being put up to do this by the Biden administration and other globalists or elite groups to do this. But guess what? Remember you said Boondocks does not have a retirement plan?
Yep.
Some of these BLM activists, they got charged too in the long run. So they got charged too. Last question. What do you think about this thing about this chef that was in Obama's mansion that got caught died paddleboarding, which is very hard to do because all you got to do is paddle and paddle. It ain't hard to fall paddleboard, man. You know what I'm saying? Something just don't seem right with the story.
I'm thinking that this might be some sort of hit because when's the last time you heard of a black man paddleboarding? I'm thinking he was taken out. It sounded suspect.
Hey, look, we had a park down here where they had a paddleboard. You could pay $12 to get on. It was like a lake, but it ain't that long. But if you get tired, all you do is stop in the middle of the water, and then when you get your arms ready, rested again, and your feet moving again, you just get back to paddling and get back to your original destination. Only thing I would know somebody had a problem on the paddleboat was one of my buddies when he got on a paddleboat and they hit a wasp nest. And he jumped in the water and avoided the wasps coming out the nest. But otherwise, I don't know about nobody dying off the paddleboat though.
Nope.
So it did seem kind of suspect, right? And he's a chef. What about your chef? Wow. Hey, Shawn.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know what classified documents he had.
I have to wonder.
Because that story didn't even sound right for the time it even left the basement. They might well not even put it on that thing. But I think Bill Clinton had a chef that was hurt one time too or something like that.
Yeah.
But look, for all we know, Shawn, they could have poisoned that dude and he could have been paddleboating and died, man. They'll never tell you. But that was a very odd story. But like I said, do you have any projects coming up? Anything going on in New York City? Are you back in the office or what?
I've never left my office. So right now I'm working on the 2024 books for the SJS Direct Catalog. And I'm working on a brand new comic book script. And right now I have my comic John Haynes at Death Store, which is now available on lulu.com. So if you guys want to get a copy, you can head over to lulu.com. And you can also pick up my other book, John Haynes, 1987, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. So, got a lot of great books on the SJS Direct Imprint, and you guys can find them all on Amazon.com.
Yeah, yeah, guys. I mean, make sure y'all donate to Shawn James. Is it $ Shawn James?
Shawn S. James.
Dollar sign Shawn S. James. I
That's what
got
the
it.
Cash App is.
Yeah, let me put that in there. Yeah. Yeah, I just got a new card today, man. I mean, I'm tell you something, man. There's also a lot of scamming going on too, man. That's going on out here. With cards and stuff.
Yeah.
They going, some of these some of these convenience stores are, they got people that, swipe the card and then they use the thing to scan gas stations, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
people need
the
to be careful.
skimmers.
Yeah, they need to be very careful. Stuff like that. So it took me a while to get a new card and stuff. So
Yeah.
you just gotta be careful, man, with these guys, man, because I mean, since the Biden administration, there have been more scammers, skimmers, robocalls, and so forth and like. So we just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
We gotta understand that, hey, we got an election coming up next year, and we're gonna see all types of gimmicks.
Yep.
So, but I do thing coming up. Also, he's on with Gavin Rashad on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. What is it? Central Standard Time? No.
Central Time.
Yeah, Central Time. And of course, that would be 7 Mountain Time, and Pacific Time that would be 6 p.m. But he always brings good information, and he has a good perspective on a lot of things. I'm gonna tell you something, Shawn, man. Like I said, we just have to be aware, and next time I bring you on, I got to talk about a subject that's been going on a lot. I've been seeing a lot in the community. I've been going to summer camps. I've been going here, and we got to talk about a subject of childhood obesity because it's getting really bad.
Yeah.
I just really hadn't, but I said to myself, lady, you can't be 130 pounds, but your son is 150 at 10 years old. That doesn't make sense. But we have to talk about diet, some type of food plans. Like I sent you a thing the other day about the Big Mac in Connecticut, where they actually talking about a poster they write. It might have been a joke, but they've said $17.59 or something like that. I'm like, but if you pay $17.59 for a quarter pound of cheese at Mickey D's, you got to be some type of food.
Yeah, you get groceries for that. I can make a whole meal with that money.
But I know if you ever go outside and see McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, all these places have lines around the corner. So we have become, I'm going to say that we become an intellectually lazy society. And that actually has went to cooking, stuff like that. I mean, Shawn, you don't know how many women I meet now that say they don't cook. Well, I said, why you don't cook? They said, well, someone will tell you, I don't have a man to cook for. Well, that don't mean you don't cook, though.
Doesn't mean you can't cook for yourself.
Yeah. I'm like, I met one, I said, well, how do you eat? Well, I go to Panera Bread every day. I'm like, if you go to Panera Bread every day over the course of a month, you can spend some money, Shawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Spend more than you would at the grocery store and learn how to make food.
Yeah. And that's why I said that we have to be careful because we don't know. Let's put it this way. This food well, look, I'm going to say two things. I shouldn't have to tell you this. Shawn shouldn't have to tell you this. Didn't the FDA just say last week? They came out and told you. I mean, Shawn, you might have known it anyway, but didn't they tell you the aspartame that the sweetener they use in that coffee and stuff? Didn't they tell you could be linked to cancer?
Yeah.
They told you. Matter of fact, the World Health Organization told you. Now that's what. Okay, yeah, right. All right, that's them. What emails have they been sending me, Shawn? They've been sending me emails now of women, right?
Yeah.
They've been sending me emails of women. You can file a lawsuit for guess what? chemical burns in your hair, scalp burns. The chemicals, they say it could cause you to have uterine fibroids. And they're saying the hair chemical can do that. Oh, but we told you about putting the perms in here a long time ago, didn't we?
Yep.
So now they're going to tell you, but you go back to that saying, Shawn, black man know nothing unless you put it in the book.
Yep.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's how you hide it from you.
That's how you hide it from them.
That's how you hide it from them. Then me and you what? We tell you information. You don't believe us, but then they come and say it right on NBC 12. Oh man, Shawn, you know what? They said what you said a long time ago. Same thing with RFK Jr. That thing they hearing with RFK Jr. up there on Capitol.
Yep.
He got that out of NIH funded study in a newspaper. I know about the paper. Okay? Yep. He was only repeating what they said. They the ones that say he was anti-Semitic. He said, I'm repeating out this NIH funded study. If I was him, I would have told him, screw you, ask Anthony Fauci. It's in the study.
Yep.
So that's how, so it always go to show you, you can always get information if you look for it. Just look. Just look and you will find, just like you showed me Psalms 24:1 tonight. So
yeah.
I just want to say, I do thank you for coming on, and thanks for, I mean, it took a long time to get back to you because, I mean, you know, since February, I mean, I woke up and they said your account is spending for, I guess, a day or so, but then it was gone for like months. So I don't know. But nevertheless, thanks for coming on and have a good night. And I'll send you information. Keep on sending me or, you know, responding to me. And we're gonna make this thing work out somehow.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, take your time. All right. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir.